Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Now today I want to talk about the Fujifilm X-T50. Now I've done quite a few videos about the Fujifilm X-T50 and we have it here. And I actually adore this camera. I think it's great. It's a really nice looking camera, very lightweight. Well, very lightweight for the type of camera that it is. I say that because it isn't really sold as a compact camera, but it is a lightweight camera. So I think it is compact. I mean, you can see here how small it is in my hand. A great little camera. I've got actually fitted to it at the moment the Sigma DCDN 10-18 lens. I tend to keep it on the camera body all the time. But what I want to talk about is why I use this predominantly for photography as opposed to video. And when Fuji released this camera, I think they were very much targeting photographers and not videographers. Although it has got some amazing video features built into this camera. I'm not going to talk about them in this video. I'm going to do a separate video about its video features and how actually really capable it is as a video camera. But I use it predominantly as a photography camera. And I think there's two main reasons why I use it as a photography camera. The 40 megapixel sensor that's inside this camera, it's an APS-C sensor, but it's a 40 megapixel X-Trans sensor. One of their newer ones is the same sensor that's in the Fuji X-H2, which I'm filming the wide shot over there with, and the same sensor that's in the X100 Mark VI. So a very capable sensor, and it's the same processor in here that's in the X100 VI as well. Some people actually say this is very similar to the X100 VI, and I say that as well. I've done a video about that, comparing this to the X100 VI. Although the X100 VI is more compact, but it has a fixed lens, where the beauty with this one, it has an interchangeable lens. And I've actually done a video where I said you're better off buying the X-T50 as opposed to the X100 VI, because it's more feature rich in the sense you can interchange lenses. You're not stuck with that lens. I mean, it's a 35mm equivalent lens on the X100 VI. On this camera you can put whatever lens you want on it. As I said, I've got the 10-18, which is about 15 to 30 something, 27 like that in full frame terms. Beautiful lens. I'm going to go through a few images on the computer here, which I think are worth looking at. But I would suggest you take a look at them on my Flickr page rather than looking at them on this YouTube video because of YouTube's compression. And I'm only going to spin through them. I'm not going to go through them in any particular detail. So the two main reasons why I use this for photography is its 40 megapixel sensor, but also it has the tilty-wilty screen as opposed to the articulating screen. When I'm out and about, I much prefer the tilty-wilty screen because I feel it's far less intimidating. It's more discreet when I'm out taking photographs. Very discreet, where I've just got it behind the camera body and I can look down if I'm doing a low angle shot, or I can do it like that if I'm doing a higher angle shot. And also with it not sticking out, I feel that it protects the camera body better. I always feel I'm going to snap the screen if it's sticking out. I don't know why, because I know it wouldn't happen, but I do feel that. So great photography camera. It's got great tactile controls for photography as well. So you've got your shutter control dial on the top here. I tend to leave that in A for automatic and then adjust the aperture. Now you can adjust the aperture either via the control dial on the front of the camera body. You can set it up on the back as well because it's got two command dials. But I use the one on the front for adjusting the aperture, or you can adjust the aperture via the lens because most Fuji lenses have an aperture control ring on them. So there's this little 18mm lens. This is a lovely little lens, this one. This has got an aperture control ring on the lens, so you can adjust the aperture on the lens or set it to automatic and adjust it on the camera body. So very flexible. It's got a lovely viewfinder, so that is great. The new XM5 is quite a bit smaller than this one apparently. I haven't got it yet. I've ordered it, but I haven't got it yet. But this one does have a viewfinder. So I find that great. So it's got a lovely viewfinder, exposure compensation dial on the top as well. So that is, you know, rather handy position. It's a nice position, that is, for adjusting your exposure compensation. Interestingly, you can put it in a mode called C mode, and then you can adjust the exposure compensation on the back dial. I guess some people would like to do that. I have tried that. I find it's just as easy to leave it on the actual dial that it was designed for. And it has got your film simulation mode. I'm not sure that's a gimmick for me. I shoot everything in RAW, so that isn't ever needed. I have played with it, but that's become redundant. It would be nice if Fuji at some point in the future can I can pre-assign that for something else, but I can't at the moment. That is purely for setting your film simulations if you are shooting JPEGs. And that's great if you are shooting JPEGs and you want to take JPEGs straight out the camera, then that is brilliant that you can actually set up your black and white, colour, Provia, all sorts of different film simulations, you know, this camera has. It's got all the Fuji ones, obviously, because it's, you know, a Fuji camera, and all you do is just turn the dial and then you'll see it pop up on the screen what the film simulations are. There we go, you see them coming up a little dial on the back of the screen there, and you just choose the film simulation that you want, and that will be burnt into the image, to the JPEG image, but it doesn't affect RAW images. So that is also great. So I could set it to say black and white for JPEGs, but I'm still got the original RAW image, which is, you know, obviously full colour. And you can make all the adjustments you need to do in any program. Luminar Neo, which I promote quite heavily, or Lightroom that I'm using here. You know, very, very useful. The other thing that I love about the X-T5, the X-T50, as I've said in many of my videos, it has got the auto switch, which is now becoming quite well known for Fuji cameras. Certainly the sort of X-T50, X-T30, X-T20 and those ones. So you've got a little auto switch on the top there to switch it straight to auto. And that way I don't have to worry about setting apertures, shutter speeds. The camera sorts it out. I can still set the focus points, no problem at all. You can move a focus point around, and that works great. But for photography, that is great because it's setting the aperture and ISO, or shutter speed and ISO. I think it's great that Fuji have put the RAW feature back into the full auto mode on the Fuji X-T50. But it's very compact. It does take the Fuji X-T1, the W126 battery, as opposed to the newer, thicker W235 battery. So this is one of our older batteries, the 126 battery, quite an old battery, or style of battery. I get quite a few shots out of it, about 400 per shoot, but I think that's fine. Don't have an issue with that. Just put a spare battery in your pocket when you go out, you know. But you can power it via USB-C, and you can charge it via USB-C. So if you are going out for, you know, a long day, just take a little battery pack with you, and you can charge it up while you're having lunch, having a cup of coffee, whatever. So yeah, great little compact camera for photography. The 40 megapixel sensor is ideal because it enables you to crop the image. Certainly if you're a wildlife photographer or you're a sports photographer, even if you're a hobbyist and you get some wildlife photographs, it's great that you can crop the image later on because of a 40 megapixel sensor. Or it might be that you haven't got a telephoto lens on the camera that gets in close enough. You want to be able to crop the image. So that's why I think the 40 megapixel sensor is awesome. It has got in-body image stabilization as well. That is brilliant with the lenses like I've got on here, the Sigma lens, purely because this hasn't got image stabilization. With in-body image stabilization, that is great. It works great with lenses that don't have it. So that's another great thing for photography. If you want to get those low shutter speeds, but you still want parts of the image to be sharp, then you will find that it's great with this camera because of the in-body image stabilization. Also, if you're going into lower light and you're filming static subjects, it doesn't help with moving subjects, but if you're filming static subjects, I'm thinking predominantly like cathedrals, churches, that sort of thing, then you can still get a really, really nice sharp image at slower shutter speeds because of the in-body image stabilization in the camera. So yeah, feature-rich camera, very nice camera to use, very nice camera to hold. Image quality is absolutely outstanding. You will get stunningly sharp images with this camera. Obviously it will depend on what lenses you're using, because some of the cheaper lenses may not support a 40 megapixel sensor to be able to get the best out of it. But if you're using Fuji lenses, something like the Fuji XF 18mm, I know the XC and the XF 35mm will give you sharp images. The Sigma lenses I'll show you in a minute are fantastic. I've got the 18 to 35 lens on my Fujifilm X-H2, no, the 18 to 50 lens on my Fuji X-H2 over there. That's a great lens, nice and sharp, beautiful lens. I use it predominantly for video in the studio here, but great to go out with as well. Same as the Sigma DCD and 10 to 18 that's already on the camera. So they work great with this camera. In fact, Fuji have got a chart on their website that shows you what lenses work well with the 40 megapixel sensor. Unfortunately, they only promote the Fuji lenses that work great with the camera, not other brands, which would make sense. Yeah, great sharp images, very easy. See, I could crop into that without any trouble whatsoever. It's beautiful. And we look at any of the other images, we look at any of these show images, they're so sharp. But it's not just about sharpness. We always talk about sharpness, but it's the definition, the clarity, and the tonal range. And that's what I love about Fuji cameras. The tones are lovely, the skin tones are really nice. It looks really lovely. I did think in low light it would suffer because of a 40 megapixel sensor, but actually it's pretty damn good at high ISOs. And with noise reduction and all the modern software, you can clean them up anyway quite easily. But yeah, great noise reduction features on the Fuji X-T50, even though it does have the 40 megapixel sensor. Yeah, so take a look at these images on my website. You'll see how, on my Flickr page, you'll see how good they really are, and how great this camera is. So yeah, I can highly recommend the Fujifilm X-T50. I mean, it's a great travel camera. It's a great compact camera to go take out and about with you. It's pretty reasonably priced. Pretty reasonably. It is reasonably priced. It's not the cheapest, obviously, because it's got a lot of features. Certainly, if you are using it as a hybrid camera, it will do video, and it does it very successfully. But as I say, I'm going to cover that in a separate video, as it were. But as a stills camera, lovely looking, really compact, great images at a pretty decent price. And if you already have other Fuji camera bodies, that is great, because your Fuji X mount lenses will work quite happily with the X-T50. And being that it's APS-C, they're relatively compact. I mean, look, this is a 10 to 18 constant f2.8 lens. That's not very big at all, is it? I know it has no IBIS in the lens, but that's a pretty decent build. So yeah, very, very highly recommended. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found that video useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like the content of this video. And please share it if you think other people would find this video particularly useful. So there we go. Thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.